On today's Padone, my take, I'll be recapping Browns versus Steelers. Yikes. Yep, we got to get into that mess. We're going to talk about Baker's future in Cleveland. Didn't think I'd be doing that today. We're going to preview Browns versus Bengals, get you guys ready for that on Sunday. It's not going to be all negative. We're going to quickly whip around the entire National Football League, and we're going to catch up with former NFL fullback, current brother of NFL legend Rob Gronkowski. We're catching up with Chris Gronkowski live on the show tonight. Super packed show, super fun one for you guys. We're going to get over that Pittsburgh loss. We're going to get ready for Cincy together. But first, Padone, my take is brought to you by my guys at Dugout Mugs. You guys see the Dugout Mugs on the set. They're the best. The World Series of Baseball is underway, and what better way to celebrate, the end of a baseball season with the Dugout Mugs. The Indians are yet again watching from home, but the good news is there's always next year. We know that in Cleveland. Dugout Mugs knows this. They're familiar with our frustration, and they want you to check these things out, guys, because check this out. They take a real baseball bat, hollow it out on the inside, and the crew over there is super cool, and they're just trying to help us as Tribe fans get over what we have to go through every year, because they know that the team could look very different next year. So they're getting creative to help my listeners cope with the sadness of being a Tribe fan. Visit dugoutmugs.com/Padone, and you're going to get a free Cleveland Indians knob shot. You see it on your screen right now. Then grab yourself a Carlos Santana engraved Block C bat mug. It's Santana's real autograph with a Block C engraved onto it. With every Santana bat mug, Dugout Mugs is going to send you an autographed Carlos Santana photo for free. This is a perfect early holiday present for any baseball fans. You're getting a free Tribe knob shot, a free signed photo, and an Indians beer mug for under $65. If you're asking me, that's Christmas done right. Get it done now. Get it done early, because these Santana signed photos are super limited. They're going quick. Dugoutmugs.com/Padone, dugoutmugs.com/Padone to claim your free knob shot. And then from there, just search Carlos Santana. So, guys, let's do it. Well, we got to do this show. We got to get through this show together. This is the 12th episode, 12 weeks that we've done Padone My Take. And this is the first week that I didn't want to sit in front of this camera. I didn't want to get in front of this computer. And I didn't want to do this show tonight, because I was wrong. I thought the Browns were going to beat Pittsburgh. I thought it was going to be a statement game where the Browns show the rest of the NFL that they're legit, that they could hang with the big boys, that they could possibly win the division, that the door is cracked open, that Baker's the franchise quarterback. I wanted to come on here today, and I wanted to talk about all of that. It's a Wednesday. We would have been 5-1, looking to be 6-1 against the Bengals. It would have been like, man, the sky is the limit for this team. But now I have to do this show, and I have to talk about the limitations of this team. I'm bummed about the Browns today, guys. That's honestly how I'm feeling. Blown out by the Steelers, and you guys have heard about the bad. So we're not gonna harp on the bad. Baker sucked. We've heard that. We'll talk about that. He was bad. Arguably, between this game and the Patriots game last season, his worst in a Browns uniform. And you never want to say that about a guy in his third season, second full season. It was a rough one. The O-line sucked. We've heard that. The defense is very suspect. Absolutely. We've heard that, talked about that, been through that. The defense is beyond suspect. Oh, geez. Stefanski's play calling, how about that? Predictable. How about the fourth down runs right up the middle? How about Case Keenum trying to throw? Oh, man. All fair points. All of these are true. And we could be critical of our favorite team. That's what fans do. We're allowed to be critical. But what's also true is the claims that the Browns and that Baker have beaten nobody, that's untrue. They beat the Cowboys, and they hung 49 points in that team. The Cowboys with a healthy Dak Prescott, with a healthy Ezekiel Elliott. The Browns looked like they were going to win that game in blowout fashion. Took 49 points to do so, but Baker led an offense that was capable of putting up 49 points. Speaking of Baker-led offenses, before the Steelers game this week, the Browns had the most efficient offense in the NFL. And I know what you're going to tell me. You're going to say, Nick, that's on the legs of Nick Chubb. That's on the legs of Kareem Hunt. That's not Baker Mayfield. Okay, well, you're trying to tell me that Baker Mayfield didn't make any throws in those games to make the Browns the most efficient offense in the NFL leading up to the Steelers game? I'm going to have to disagree with you there because Baker made some of those throws. So that's not true. They beat the Colts, whose defense is good. They still lead defensive categories across the board. They just came back, by the way, from a 24-7 deficit to the Cincinnati Bengals. So the Colts are legit. They're a good team. The Browns have beaten good teams, and the Browns aren't a bad team because they're learning how to win. The Ravens, they're elite. The Steelers, they're elite. Those teams have, 5-0, the Steelers are. Those teams are looking to make a run at the Super Bowl this year, and we knew that going into this year. And that's part of the issue when we play the schedule game and we win the offseason and we get ourselves so excited in Cleveland as Browns fans. We have to remember that we share a division with two teams that, when healthy, could win the division every year and make a run at the Super Bowl every year. And I know people are fed up with hearing that. People are like, I want to be able to hang with those guys. I want to be able to hang with Baltimore. I want to be able to hang with Pittsburgh. Trust me, I do too. But it's a process. We're 2 years removed from 3-36-1. That was a dark place that I never want to revisit again for the rest of my life. We would be walking around town in the dead of winter wearing tribe gear. Why? Because the Browns sucked. The Browns gave us nothing to cheer for. And at the end of the season, we were so glad and so blessed that it was over. The jokes were, well, now we get to see how they screw up the draft. I don't want to go back to that place. Instead, I would rather watch my favorite football team, and we're going to get into this, beat up on the bad teams and beat up on the teams that they're supposed to be beating up on, which the Browns have done this year. You don't become 4-2 by mistake. And I don't want to blow things up, and I don't want to get too down on this show because it's a developing team. You look around the division, and people are sick of looking around the division, but you have to. And hear me out on this. John Harbaugh has been the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens for 12 years. Mike Tomlin has been the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers for 13 years. Kevin Stefanski, his first year as a head coach in the National Football League, and he's been doing it for 9 months. He's been doing it for a full pregnancy period, whereas these guys have been doing it for 12 and 13 years. And the fact that there's people in this city that want to blow this team up, that want to get rid of Baker, that want to, look towards the draft, look towards free agency. Why? Don't you think that's a little bit silly? And I know it's tough, but sometimes you got to say, damn it, there's better teams than us. Damn it, you got to play the cards you're dealt, and we are dealt a pretty hard deck this decade. You ran into Big Ben Roethlisberger for the last 10 years, and he's on the downswing. That's the good news. The bad news, the Ravens drafted Lamar Jackson. After they passed up on him once, they turned around and drafted him, which is maddening. That's the bad news. But the good news is you endured 1-15. You endured 1-16. You endured Hugh Jackson. You endured Freddie Kitchens. So now is not the time to jump ship. If you were to jump ship and get down and get mad and get angry about this football team, that was the time to do it, not right now. And I know it's ugly. It's so hard for me to look into this camera and to tell you that in full honesty after watching the franchise quarterback that I wanted to draft lay an egg against a really good team. It sucks, but you want to know how you get to that point where you can start to beat these elite teams around the NFL? How you beat Lamar and the Ravens? How you beat Ben and Pittsburgh? You got to beat the bad teams consistently first, and the Browns are doing that. You got to beat up on Cincy twice a year. They're still regrowing. They're in a full rebuild. You got to beat Washington, the football team. The Browns did that. They're horrible. They benched their starting quarterback for no reason. The New York teams, you still play both of them at the end of this season. The Jaguars, they're actively trying to lose. You still have them. Houston, they fired their head coach 5 weeks into the season. You still have them. You still have Philly, who might not have a starting quarterback either. It sucks. The loss on Sunday was demoralizing, but all is fine in Cleveland. I hate to tell you guys this, but when we did the preview show, Browns opener, we were all excited. We were playing the music. Come on, man. Nobody in the comments said 16-0. Nobody in the comments said the Browns were going to win the division this year, let alone make the Super Bowl. We got a little bit too excited, and rightfully so. We're allowed to get excited. That's what fans do. That's where the word fan comes from. The word fan comes from the root word fandom or fanatic. And you're allowed to be fanatical about the team, and you're allowed to be upset. But what you can't do is just blow this thing up because Baker lost to Pittsburgh, Baker lost to Baltimore, and both of those guys could possibly be in a Super Bowl this year. Is Buffalo going to blow it up because they lost on primetime to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs? I don't think Buffalo is looking to blow it up. Josh Allen, who's the third guy in the MVP race behind Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, are they looking to get rid of him? Just play the backup. He had a bad game in the rain against Kansas City. Yeah, just throw him away. Come on, guys. We don't have to do this every year because we have a good team. Things are heading in the right direction. We have a real head coach. We have a real quarterback. We're going to get into the Baker stuff much further into the show. But trust me, things are going to be okay in the city. And as much as I didn't want to do this show today, it feels so much better to get all of this off my chest because the Browns are going to be okay. You got to go into Cincinnati. You got to beat the Bengals. And just like that, you're 5-2. Remember, we would get all excited the past 2 seasons, Baker's rookie season and even last season, in the disaster that was Freddie Kitchens. And they put up the graphic at the end of the year, week 13, week 14, and it has the teams that are in the hunt. The Browns for the last 2 seasons have been on that graphic of in the hunt. And then we have to play this silly little game where, we need this team to lose and we need this team to win and we have to win out the last 4 or 5 weeks and then we need this to happen and this to happen. That sucks. I don't want to do that this year, and you're not going to have to do that this year. So we got to start looking at the positives, and there are plenty to look at. So now that we've calmed down for a little bit, we kind of regrouped, we got ourselves together. That was my mission for the first open of this show. Felt really good. It's time for a super fun interview. Let's step away from the Browns. Let's take a bath and cleanse ourselves of all of that because Chris Gronkowski is coming on the show. He played fullback in the NFL with the Dallas Cowboys, with the Colts, with the Denver Broncos. He landed $1 million deal with Mark Cuban on Shark Tank. He's now a TikTok superstar, a business and brand owner. Super fun guest coming on. So let's welcome into the show, ladies and gentlemen, Chris Gronkowski. Okay, so joining me now on the show, super fun guest. So glad to finally get him on the line is former NFL fullback, brother of one of your favorite NFL talents, Chris Gronkowski joins the program. Chris, how are you? Thanks for finally coming on.
Yeah, I made it, man. I got bad luck with you. Every time I try to jump on, someone calls me, as you just saw again.
Hey, no worries, man. You know, what I wanted to start this show off with is you've quickly become a superstar on TikTok. I mean, when I think of like the TikTok power rankings, right? I got Chris Gronkowski here, and then I got like Addison Rae here, then everybody below them. How did that come about? And tell everybody that's not familiar what kind of stuff that you're putting out on the TikTok.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, right? So this is actually how it came about. I'm doing a podcast with a TikTok superstar, or one of these kids named Jesus Corona, and he figured it out, man. He's crushing it. I think he has like 650,000 followers, and he was like, "What? Why aren't you on TikTok?" And I was like, "Man, like I posted on there, and it hasn't really done much for me." He's like, well, you just got to find your flow. You got to find your thing. And I started to post just really cool content that really nobody knew about. So I did a couple like behind the scenes Shark Tank things. And then I kind of hit some NFL stuff, just behind the scenes stuff that like, just everyone misinterprets, right? Everyone's like, well, man, you're a millionaire because of football, and every player that plays is a millionaire. Like, it's just a game and all these things. And I was like, man, like, people really don't understand what the NFL is really about. Not every player is a millionaire. Actually, very few are. Only the top guys are making millions a year. And, it's not just a game, man. It's a full-time job, and it's an absolute beatdown. So just started with little things like that, and it just exploded, man. People love the actual behind the scenes. I was just telling different facts and stories that people just didn't really understand or know about. So it just exploded from there, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, one of those stories is your appearance on Shark Tank. It was one of the coolest, Shark Tank pitches that I've definitely ever seen. And for those that are unfamiliar, Chris goes out, and pitches his ice shaker bottle, and I'll let you explain to everyone that product in a second, and then brings out his brothers and is playing flip cup against billionaires. Tell everybody about that experience, Chris, because that was one of the coolest, most memorable episodes of Shark Tank ever.
That was awesome, man. I was playing flip cups against billionaires. I never actually thought of it like that. That's a great way to put it. Yeah, the episode was awesome. And, having your family with you definitely helps. We did the huge chest bump. They ran out of the back, and it was just like a party after that. But, that experience was amazing. It really is what everyone says it is. It takes you from a startup business, which I was 6 months in, to doing over 3 million in the next 12 months, man. Wow. So as great as the sales are, the work comes with it. You don't just sit back and chill after that like most people think. That's when the grind really starts. And, that 20X in sales turns into 20X in work as well. And you got to figure out really quickly, how to run a business and how to keep it going. So amazing experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's the real deal. You get a real investment. And man, I've learned so much since then, and really had to find a way to grow this business and figure it out.
If you don't mind, tell people about your business, about Ice Shaker. How did that product come about? Because it's such a unique idea. And it's one of those ideas where, like, I'm watching it on Shark Tank and I follow you on Instagram, and I'm like, man, how did nobody think of this before?
Well, man, so I think it comes down to the fact that a lot of people thought of it, because it is a pretty simple product. All I really did was take a shaker bottle, the same plastic shaker bottle that everybody gets for free or whatever with supplements. And I just took every issue that I had with it and I tried to fix it. So, the plastic shaker bottles, they leak, they smell awful, they sweat everywhere, they don't keep your drink cold. So I just took that, I made it a kitchen grade insulated stainless steel. So keep it cold. It's not going to sweat. It's not going to absorb the odor like the plastic shaker bottle does. I took the great features of, I love the pop top, man. Like, the pop top's the best. So I always just love drinking out of something like that. Made sure it had the pop top. I put a handle on it to make it easy to carry, and then put measurement markings inside of it. And then on top of that, we had a twisting agitator that will break up the protein powders. It also works as a strainer. So if you like to pour shots and party, you do that too. And, it's not loud when you shake it. So you're not shaking this ball around inside of a metal cup, just annoying everybody in the office or at the gym. You're actually able to shake it in silence. So that's a pretty cool feature as well. And just put all that together, and it really became like the ultimate bottle. It wasn't just a bottle for protein shakes. It was a water bottle that you could bring to the office with you, bring to the pool on the airplane, but also bring it to the gym, and it'll mix and shake. And it was easy to fill and easy to clean. So simplest idea, like you said. The problem was no one did it, man, because as easy as it sounds, it's an absolute grind to get any product off the ground, no matter how simple it sounds.
Definitely. You and your brother are big party guys. You talk about maybe putting a shot or two in that ice bottle. It's such an interesting story to me how you both ended up at Arizona and the recruitment process of that. You talk on your TikTok about the NFL and how people don't know about that. I feel like a lot of people also don't really understand, like, the college recruitment process. If you don't mind, could you share that story of how you and Rob both ended up at Arizona together?
Yeah, man, my college recruitment was crazy because we're out of Buffalo, New York, and you don't get recruited out of Buffalo, New York for really any sport, maybe hockey. But that's about it. You got over 300 guys coming out of Texas and over 300 coming out of Florida. We had 5 out of the state of New York go Division I football. So kind of crazy because it's similar populations and 5 guys coming out of the whole state of New York, not Buffalo. So for me, it was tough. I was actually going to Ivy League. I was committed to the University of Penn. I got really lucky, and I give it to my grades. The University of Maryland at that time, my brother Dan was there. He was doing well, but they were about to go on academic probation. So with 2 weeks left in the summer, they offered me my first. It was actually my second Division I scholarship. I did have a Division I scholarship to the University of Buffalo, but at that time, they didn't have an indoor. They weren't winning any games. I was trying to get away from home and kind of figure out things for myself. So I didn't want to be at the local college. So 2 weeks left in the summer, I get this offer basically to come in and help them get their grades up, man. It was pretty much what it came down to. So, everyone who neglects their grades and thinks they're going to get by with just athletic talent, grades help a lot. And if you're the same talent as somebody else, but you have better grades, they're going to take you, man, because they know you're not going to be an issue, and they know you're going to last all 4 or 5 years in college, and you're going to help the team. So I ended up going there. Last minute offer, like I said, I wasn't getting much. And then I was there for 2 years. I played my second season and just wasn't seeing eye to eye with the coach. And Rob was coming out, and he actually took a recruiting visit to Maryland. The coach pretty much told him that, I was soft. I couldn't crack an egg, all this stuff. And he told that to my brother and my dad. And, Rob walked out of that meeting and said, I'm never playing here, and you shouldn't either. Wow. He's like, where do you want to go? So, at that time, he's the number one recruit of the nation. And he starts going on trips, and we had a family friend that was in the same business as my dad, and he was like, hey, you guys got to go to the Arizona. He was an Arizona alum. He played there, and he just kept pushing on us. And, we kind of fell in love with the place. It was completely different from Buffalo, New York. And, it was an up-and-coming team, and Sonny Dykes was going there. He threw the tight end 80 times before that. And it was kind of just this feeling that, man, the right place at the right time, let's check it out. So Rob ends up signing there. I end up transferring there. And next thing you know, we're playing at Arizona.
That's awesome, man. You're a fullback, which is kind of like almost turning into a lost art in the NFL in a sense. This show is based in Cleveland. We're the home of the fullback. We love fullbacks. We have Andy Janovich now, who played in Denver. What is it about that position that's so fun and that's almost so badass about playing fullback?
Man, it is. It's a tough position for sure, and it's probably the least paid position as well. So it's a grind, man, absolute grind, and every single play you're taking a big hit. And man, I've watched Andy play because he came into Denver right after I did, right. And man, props to him. He's a beast, and he's definitely a good player, and it's been exciting to watch him. But man, the glory is just you're going one-on-one with the another player every single down, and it's either. You put him back or he puts you back, man. So it's this epic battle all game long. And at the end of the day, man, you hope you come out on top. But you're going to get some of the best players in the world, and it's always a grind.
Now we're starting to see like brother pairs in the NFL. You got the Watt brothers. You had the Manning brothers. I know you played with Peyton in Denver. If we were to assemble like a dodgeball tournament, make a bracket, a whole thing – where do the Gronkowski brothers come out in this?
Man, I mean, I would think so. The Watt brothers, they're younger, man. So they're all still playing. So I would think they would probably come out on top because they're still in tip-top shape. But I mean, if it's dodgeball, we grew up playing baseball. I don't know what they were doing, but man, we could definitely play some dodgeball. That's for sure. So, man, Peyton, I don't think he's going to be able to get out of the way at this point. To dodge those balls. So he might have the arm, but I don't know if he's got the move. So it'd probably be a good challenge, man. It'd actually be fun. That should be some kind of we do have a YouTube channel now. Should do Watts versus Gronks in dodgeball. That would be a good video.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. I feel like that would definitely trend upwards on YouTube. How was that experience for you, at Arizona, playing college ball with your brother? Like, I have a younger brother, and we played sports together. Obviously not at the biggest stage. We're obviously not as huge as you guys are, but it was almost like a motivator that, like, I'm with my brother. Like, I got to be better than my brother. Growing up, did you kind of experience some of that playing sports with all your brothers and then especially Rob at Arizona?
That's exactly how it was. And I don't think people see that, but I was begging to go to New England after I was done in Denver, and they had an opening because that's exactly what it did. And I actually think the coaches were worried about me going there or even looking at to sign me because they thought I was going to, be a bad influence on Rob because we partied in college, and we came out and we were, the party frat boys or whatever they wanted to call it. But
Right.
at the end of the day, man, you're exactly right with what you said. We pushed ourselves so much harder and so much further because we were trying to impress each other. That's all we were trying to do. We wanted to walk into the film room. We're in the same meeting room together. And I wanted to point at the screen and say, hey, bro, watch this next play. Watch me light this guy up. Or us line up next to each other like we did. I was the wing. He's the tight end. And we'd come down on a guy and put him on his back. And we'd walk into the film room and be like, hey, coach, rewind that real quick. It just – you hype each other up so much. You push each other so much further because there's nobody that you want to impress more than your own family. So, man, it wasn't just on the field. It was in the weight room every single day. It was in sprints. It was in running stadiums. Everything that we did was a competition. And if he could do it, why couldn't I, man? We're the same family. We're the same, genes, genetics. We grew up the same. So if he's going to run this fast, I'm going to run that fast too. If he can lift this much weight, I am too. So we pushed each other so hard and throughout life, all the brothers. And I think that's what took us to that next level.
Gronk kind of took the NFL by storm this offseason, unretiring, getting traded to Tampa to play with Tom in Tampa. It's been such a weird NFL season. Some stadiums have fans, some stadiums don't have fans. Where are you at with all of that? And how cool was it for your family when Rob made that decision to reunite with Tom in Florida?
Yeah, man. So where I'm at is I'm heading to the game this weekend.
Awesome.
So I'll be able to go to the game. So the first game of the year for us. I think my dad went last week, actually. So some of the bros have been there. I haven't yet, and so I'll get to see that action. But, yeah, man, when he came out of retirement, I was shocked. I know that's for sure. TMZ actually interviewed me a month before and asked if he was coming back, and I said, man, I would be shocked if he came back. And, a month later he comes back. So it was amazing, though, because his eyes lit up again, man. He was excited again. He was training so hard, and life just came back to him. So you had that challenge again that he was missing for a year. It's kind of like what am I working towards? And now he had something to work towards again. So man, it was fun to watch. It was fun to see him come back and get on the field again. And I think it's just going to get better and better as the year goes on.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that for sure. Chris, I appreciate you hopping on the show. Don't want to keep you all day. Go ahead, plug your stuff. You're doing everything. Gronked Up, Icebreaker, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Go ahead and plug it all. Where can people keep up with everything that is Chris Gronkowski?
For sure. So at Chris Gronkowski, I'm, like you said, pretty much every social platform at this point. Man, check out iceshaker.com is the bottle. We're in all the vitamin shops, GNCs, Lifetime Fitness. We're in grocery stores now. We're just popping up everywhere with the bottles as well. So check us out there. And YouTube channel, like I said before, youtube.com/thegronks is where it's at. And then, man, we're going to launch today a new custom workout plan and meal plan. So it's gronkedupfitness.com, and something I've been working on for, man, it's been like 4 months, and it's been a grind, but we're all about living an active, healthy lifestyle, and to be able to give someone a legit meal plan and a legit workout plan that they could follow and, get in the best shape of their life was something that was on my plate that I really wanted to do. So I now have this available at, it really comes down to about $1 a day is what it is. So super affordable for anyone who's looking to get back in shape after all this crazy COVID stuff and sitting at home.
Yeah, man, I might have to take you up on that because I've really done nothing but sit around and eat sugar cookies and play video games. So I might have to look into that myself, man. Great stuff.
Absolutely, man. Let me know.
For
Got to
sure.
drop a coupon code for your listeners as well, so we could follow up with that and get something set up.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be sick. Hey, man, thanks so much.
Absolutely, Nick. Thanks for having me.
Yep. Alrighty, great stuff there from former NFL fullback Chris Gronkowski. Definitely feel a lot smarter talking to a guy that has a deal with Mark Cuban. His brother plays in the NFL. He played in the NFL. Super fun interview with him. So glad to kind of back off the Browns for a little bit and, bring us back to reality with Chris Gronkowski. That was a ton of fun. So it's on to Cincinnati. You got to beat the Bengals now, and you can't fold up here, folks, because let's ask Bill Belichick where the Browns are going here. you got to turn the page. We're on to Cincinnati. Stefanski noted today something that was super interesting in his media availability when he met with everybody, that the Bengals keep games close. And that's something that spooks me a little bit going into this game. That's something that we saw last time when Joe Burrow actually covered. The Browns were winning big, then the Bengals kind of came back. Burrow covered. It was much closer of a game than what it should have been. They cover a lot. They're a good young team that fights hard. They don't want to lose. Joe Burrow wants to prove that he's the best quarterback in the division. You know, he's coming for blood. They blew a 24-7 lead. They're going to be playing peed off. They keep games close. This would be a good game to blow their doors off and just erase all the negativity that the Browns heard this week, that they're going to continue to hear up until Sunday, about Odell Beckham rejecting COVID-19 and him saying that it can't enter his body, about Baker being a below-average quarterback. Go into Cincinnati on the road at 1 p.m. on a Sunday when nobody outside of Ohio is watching and blow the doors off the Bengals, and people will be right back where they were. And this is a great opportunity to do that and to capitalize on that. This week, Browns regained Carl Joseph, huge deal. Regained Ronnie Harrison, huge deal. Those two should be your starters at safety. Andrew Sendejo did not practice today due to a shin injury. So, in my opinion, Carl Joseph and Ronnie Harrison should be the two safeties. You got Carl at the strong, Ronnie at the free. If Ronnie or one of them needs a break, you got Sheldrick Redwine in rotation. If I'm Joe Woods, that's how I'm running things come Sunday. Bengals O-line still no good. They refuse to make any adjustments there. This should be a Myles Garrett field day, and we saw it in the first game with Cincinnati just a couple weeks ago. That's why I kind of like when they do these games in the division so close together, because we remember things as fans, as media, and then the teams remember things as well. And don't think for a second that when Joe Burrow takes that snap, he's not going to be looking 95's way, because he knows that's what he has coming to him. He knows that Myles Garrett is going to be there, because it was just a couple weeks ago where he was taking those hits. He probably still has a couple of bumps and bruises inflicted by Myles Garrett to his body. So this should be a Myles Garrett field day. This is a perfect opportunity, by the way, something we didn't talk about and that really hasn't been talked about. That with that Pittsburgh game, the Browns weren't able to cause any type of turnovers defensively versus Pittsburgh. And then at the end, when Baker was hurt and got pulled, the whole team kind of gave up. You know, the defense really just kind of threw the towel in. They were in some kind of goofy off-ball prevent, and that was all she wrote there. This is a perfect game to regain that. You're going against a rookie quarterback, the bad offensive line. Should be able to generate a lot of pressure up front. Should be a game where, even though, you know, the back half of the defense is a little bit spotty still, should be able to generate a couple of easy, you know, I don't want to say garbage interceptions, but a couple of interceptions that might not be deserved. And then that puts the offense in a much better position. We simply weren't able to see any of that on Sunday against the Steelers. Bengals also are a little bit of a dumpster fire. And this is something that I wanted to get into, especially in comparison with the Browns, because when the Browns sucked, you know, just a couple years ago, 3-36-1, the Bengals were kind of right there with us in sucking. They were like, they had Andy Dalton, they had AJ Green, they had a couple defensive pieces. But other than that, their team was bad. They refused to get rid of Marvin Lewis. They were always right there with us in the pit of mediocrity. But now they're kind of going through it the ugly way. So they're a little bit of a mess. John Ross wants out. The receiver that they took that has a lot of upside. The Browns are so stacked at receiver, and I don't know what Cincinnati would be wanting to get. I don't know if that's even a trade worth making for the Browns. Carlos Dunlap and Geno Atkins, who are two of their biggest defensive names, both of those guys are like peed off with Zach Taylor, their head coach, over playing time, over the rotation. They're upset with the Bengals organization, and their defense isn't good anyways. So Geno Atkins, Carlos Dunlap, they're two like lead veteran defensive players. Those two dudes didn't even practice today, and they were put on the injury report as did not practice due to like non-football related stuff, like not injuries. So I don't know what's going on with that, but if you're missing those two guys and then John Ross, who just doesn't even play anymore, the Browns are sitting pretty. Okay, this is a good position to turn 5-2. And I know people will say like, oh, well, this is just, sure, you're 5-2, but who have you beaten? You know, you beat up on Cincinnati twice and the Washington football team and two middle to bottom of the, road teams in Indianapolis and Dallas. Okay, well, first off, Indianapolis and Dallas, with Dak healthy in Dallas, aren't middle of the road to bottom teams. Those are good football teams. The Colts, 5-1. That doesn't happen by mistake. Dallas Cowboys had a great offense before Dak went down. Obviously, they're just loaded. That doesn't happen by mistake. They had Dak, they had Zeke, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper. We beat all those cats. But then people are going to say, well, this is just the cycle of Baker Mayfield, right? He beats up on the bad teams, then he talks a little bit of junk and, says that we got to play better. He said today 4-2 feels like 0-6. And it does in this city, man. It's so negative about being 0-2 because people are so down about Baker. But with the Bengals defense looking as suspect as it is right now, and they could be without some of their top guys, this is the perfect game for Baker to just go off, make smart throws, don't throw picks, rack up a couple more yards through the air, even though the game plan is and should be, and it struggled immensely against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday. It's just run the football. Just use Kareem Hunt and Dearness Johnson, man. Dearness Johnson did nothing on Sunday. Kareem Hunt was able to get nothing going on first down. You know how you get him open, Stefanski? Throw him the freaking ball. Get him into space. Have him, Odell and Jarvis sprint 100 yards down the field. Get Kareem Hunt into space and dump that ball off to him and let him churn on his legs. Let him get a couple that way and then open up the run. And things are going to start moving well. This needs to be a Baker Mayfield game. We've heard it all week. He really has 10 games to get his act together. And I don't want to write Baker Mayfield off on this show. And I say this in the nicest way possible, I guess, is there's options out there right now, or that could be made available right now, that in theory look better than Baker Mayfield. Matt Ryan played in a Super Bowl. Dak Prescott could get franchise tagged. You could just give a first and a third and get Dak Prescott in Cleveland. The Browns in an analytically driven front office that value draft picks would never do that. But there are better options than Baker Mayfield available right now. So let's talk about Baker, because I'm still not out on him. I'm still not benching him, but he has 10 games to show Andrew Berry, to show Kevin Stefanski and this front office, like, yo, I'm the dude. Hey, I'm worth picking up a fifth-year option on. I'm worth playing, a fourth season with Kevin Stefanski, with my new footwork in this new offense, because I'm able to show you things in these next 10 games. These next 10 games are pivotal. These next 10 games in a perfect world would be what was expected going into last season, where Baker and Odell, the connection looks good. Landry is used as a perfect second. Baker's getting Hooper involved, and the David Njoku, if he's here, I don't even want to talk about that because, geez, it's David Njoku. Getting the receivers involved, connecting with Odell, making the smart throws, and not throwing picks. I feel like that's what people are the most angry about. And as always, you could drop a comment. You could tweet me at NickPadone12, tweet the show at PadoneMyTake. I feel people are mostly peed off about the interceptions, right? You're not mad that he's only throwing for 180 yards a game because they're winning those ball games, and Kareem Hunt is running the ball really well. And when Nick Chubb is healthy, you have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt running the ball incredibly well. So I feel like that's not what people are mad about, because it's just not in the game plan for Baker to air it out for 400 yards. It's not the, I hate maybe a controversial take. I don't know if that's the NFL quarterback that Baker Mayfield's going to be. I feel like he might be more of a Tom Brady type of system quarterback where you only throw for 190 to 200 yards a game, and they're nice, safe, smart throws in the middle to shallow parts of the field, and that's how you win your ball games. And there's nothing wrong with that. Tom Brady has won 6 Super Bowl rings off of that logic. I'm not complaining about that. But I made a pros and cons list when it comes to Baker Mayfield, and quickly I want to go through some of that. Usually crumbles in divisional games. That's a con. And when we drafted him, we thought that was going to be a pro of drafting Baker Mayfield because, he beat Ohio State. He loved the, Red River rivalry with Texas, the whole horns down thing that he did over there. Baker has not rose to the occasion really on the divisional games, all like I kind of expected. He's looked suspect at times, even in the easy games. Not seeing Minkah Fitzpatrick last week was a bad look. Making some of the mistakes that he makes, just anticipating defenses hasn't been good. Some of that confidence also might be shaken. Another con we haven't seen really yet, other than in the Cincinnati game. What happened to the big shots down the field? Remember his rookie season when he rolled out and found Landry in the game against the Panthers, or when he rolled out and found Rashard Higgins in the game against the Atlanta Falcons? They don't roll Baker out ever anymore and let him just uncork it down the field. And I feel like what I'm scared of is that they don't trust his decision making. And if that's the case, that's not good. And if that's the case, he has 10 games to make the smart throws. And when he does take those gambles, he needs to capitalize on those gambles. He needs to prove in these next 10 games to pick up that fifth-year option. Like, I'm capable of making these big boy throws down the field. I'm done getting fooled by free safeties that linger over by my receivers. I'm done getting fooled by linebackers that slide over in the middle of the field. That has to stop. But let's get into the pros, because in my opinion, again, and I'm a Baker backer, I wanted him coming out of the draft. The pros outweigh the cons with this guy, folks. And whether you want to believe it or not, the Browns are 4-2. Whether you want to believe it or not, when you look at the quarterbacks since 1999 on that long, dreadful list of names down the jersey that we're all familiar with, outside of Tim Couch, maybe. Is there anybody that you would want long-term to run this franchise other than Baker Mayfield since 99? No. So you're going to take a 21-year process and throw it away because Baker Mayfield lost a couple games to elite teams? I don't think so. I don't think that's a good idea. I think that's a good way to get you back to 336-1, where you're scratching your head and trying to shoot from your hip at these quarterbacks in the third round every season. I don't think that's a good idea. Let's talk about Kevin Stefanski, the guy that left his forever home of over a decade, nearing 2 decades, as an assistant with the Minnesota Vikings and the apparent heir to the Mike Zimmer's throne there in Minnesota. Do you guys think Mike Zimmer comes here because he doesn't trust Baker Mayfield? Like, yeah, I'm going to go to a job where I don't trust the guys that they have in place. I don't think that's very smart, and I don't think Kevin Stefanski is thinking that. He's the best option right now. There's nobody other than Baker right now. We saw on Sunday, Case Keenum. Yeah, he's not John Elway. Case Keenum, he's not Tom Brady. I think you guys get where I'm going here. The organization understands the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is if you get rid of him now, you're pretty much starting anew. And you don't want to start anew if you're the Cleveland Browns, because that's what you've done for the last 21 years. And it's proven to not work. It proves to get you nowhere. So it is time for the NFL Whip on BigPlay.com. On Padone My Take, of course. The NFL Whip is always brought to you by BigPlay.com. This is where we whip around the entire NFL, pick the games for the week. This week, we get right into it on Thursday Night Football as the New York Football Giants host the Philadelphia Eagles on primetime. This is a game that if you're not betting on, you probably don't care for. Even though it is a Thursday night game, the Giants, the Eagles, neither of these teams are extremely exciting to me. I guess I'm going to pick the Eagles in this one just because New York is a New York team and they're without Saquon Barkley. And Danny Dimes doesn't look great. Give me the Eagles in that one. Yeah, not a whole lot to get excited about there. So we head to Atlanta, where the Falcons host the Detroit Tigers. Matty Ice got back on track. He looked okay in the win last week. Give me the Falcons in this one. I still think Matt Patricia gets fired at the end of this season. I think they had much higher hopes for him in Dallas. Unfortunately, sadly for Patricia, Belichickian himself, I think he'll be gone. Atlanta's just the better team. More offensive weapons. Their good outweighs Detroit's bad, even without a head coach. We head to Tennessee, where the fighting Vrabels and the intentional 12-man on the field penalty bought them time, set up a beautiful game-winning touchdown drive, hosts the Pittsburgh Steelers. Give me Tennessee in this one. This is where Pittsburgh goes down. I think Vrabel just has a good thing going. And I said it last week. They kind of used the coronavirus stuff as motivation for whatever reason. Whether you agree with that or not, that's what they did. I think they got an okay thing cooking in Tennessee. Give me the Titans there. So we head to Mercedes-Benz Stadium in New Orleans, where the Saints host the Carolina Panthers. The Saints have Alvin Kamara. The Panthers without Christian McCaffrey for yet another week. As much as I propped up Teddy Bridgewater and Matt Rule on the show last week, I think this is just a good old Drew Brees coming of age party. They're coming off a bye. Drew Brees has Michael Thomas back. I think this could be a game where the Saints kind of remind the rest of the NFL who they are. Like, hey, the Carolina Panthers are a good team. They've won some pretty nice games this year that maybe people weren't expecting them to win. But we're the Saints. We're Drew Brees. I'm going to Canton immediately after my retirement. I got Michael Thomas, who is arguably, when healthy, a top receiver in the league. Give me the Saints there. That's an easy one. We got a Battle of New York as the Buffalo Bills head to MetLife Stadium to do battle with the New York Football Jets. We haven't heard if Sam Darnold is playing in this game for the Jets, but I have a feeling that Buffalo, Josh Allen, Brian Dable, that team's going to be angry because they lost and they looked bad in that game against the Chiefs. Their offense was debunked. Their defense also debunked. They couldn't do anything right in that rain at home against the Chiefs. Give me the Buffalo Bills here big, because I don't think the Jets, even with Sam Darnold, will have enough to slow down Buffalo, who, in my opinion, has one of the most complete teams, complete rosters in the NFL. We head to FedEx Field in Landover, where the Washington football team takes on the Dallas Cowboys. It's got to be tough to be a Cowboys fan right now because Andy Dalton is your quarterback. Goodness, is this a bad game? You know what? Give me Alex Smith in this one. I think the Washington football team gets a win here. Their front four should be healthy by this point. They got a little bit beat up over the loss to Cleveland when we played the football team. Give me the football team in this one. They're at home. They play Dallas, who's a dumpster fire. Mike McCarthy fooled everybody, man. He did one interview with NFL Network and used the word analytics once and made everybody believe that he had an idea as to what he was doing, and he looks downright clueless. Give me Washington football team there. We head to Houston, where what's left of Romeo Crennel will be on the sidelines for a matchup with Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, who, again, another really good football team that just lost at the hands of a better football team. Tom Brady, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they just outplayed Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. But I think the Pack get back on track in this one. I think Rodgers reshapes that MVP candidacy that we've been talking about these last couple weeks. I think the Packers go into Houston and they're able to get a win. I don't think it'll be a big blowout like some of the other games that I've predicted in this, week slate. But I do think the Green Bay Packers are going to be able to put up enough points. They got Devontae Adams back in the loss to Tampa Bay. He wasn't used nearly enough. He's still getting reacclimated with Rodgers. He's probably still getting healthy. Man, give me the Green Bay Packers in that one over the Houston Texans. We head to State Farm Stadium, where the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray take on the Seattle Seahawks. Comes out today, the Seattle Seahawks are in pursuit. The Seattle Seahawks are in pursuit of Antonio Brown. Seahawks fans, how you feeling? I don't know if I love that. If I'm a fan of the Seattle Seahawks, I don't know if I love that. They need defensive help, man. You got Bobby Wagner on your defense, Jamal Adams on your defense, and a bunch of dudes. There's really no threat on their front four. I'm going to go with the surprise pick here and I'm going to take the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins have had a really nice connection. Their ground game was finally in sync over the win against Dallas. Chase Edmonds ran well. Kenyon Drake ran well. Kyler Murray, of course, ran well. I think they might be able to do that again against Seattle at home. And let me say this about Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is one receiver away, and the receiver is on the roster. The receiver is Andy Isabella, who he missed on a long ball. Once Andy Isabella gets into the groove of this offense and catches those deep balls, this Arizona offense is going to be as advertised with Cliff Kingsbury. It's going to be a ton of fun once Mayfield, Ohio's own Andy Isabella gets into the fold. Give me the Cardinals there. We head to Denver, where Drew Lock does battle with the Kansas City Chiefs. Even though this is a road game, you got to deal with the altitude in Denver. We always hear about that. How much will that play into it? Probably none at all, because the Chiefs just played on the road in the rain in Buffalo. Give me the Chiefs again. Until somebody beats the Chiefs that's not supposed to beat the Chiefs, and I know the Raiders did it earlier, but that was just an off game. I got to pick Pat Mahomes. I got to pick that defense who is so opportunistic, and they have guys all scattered all around that could be capable of making big plays. Give me the Chiefs there just because they're a complete team. Le'Veon Bell will be in the fold this week. I'm excited to watch how they utilize Bell in this offense. Hopefully they use him well, because that could be a little bit of a 1-2 punch there with Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Le'Veon Bell. So we head to New England at Gillette Stadium, where the Patriots do battle with San Francisco 49ers. Jimmy G hasn't looked his sharpest this year. Had a better game last week. He's getting some of those younger receivers, Brandon Ayuk in the fold, Deebo Samuel also in the fold. They lost their running back, though, man. Raheem Mostert, that guy's made out of glass, it feels like. And between the concussions and the ankles and everything else, that dude can't stay healthy. Give me the Patriots at home in this one, because until someone, again, with the Patriots, same thing as the Chiefs, until somebody debunks Bill, I can't pick against them. Cam Newton is back from COVID for the second straight week. He's got Julian Edelman. They got a little bit of offensive weapons. James White looked good in their game last week. I got to take the Patriots here just because until somebody does it, man, I can't pick against them, especially in Gillette Stadium, especially at home. We head to the brand new and gorgeous SoFi Stadium in Englewood, LA, Los Angeles, California, as the Los Angeles Chargers do battle with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Listen, I think I've said it on this show before. I'm a big fan of Gardner Minshew. I like what the guy is capable of, but I look at this Jacksonville Jaguars team, and they're trying to have a fire sale. I feel like with the deadline on its way here in the beginning of November, we're just about 2 weeks away from that trade deadline, literally almost to the date. I think Jacksonville is going to make some more suspect moves where they just shed guys in order to get draft picks. That's the direction that they're heading in. Whereas the LA Chargers, their defense is getting healthy again. Even though they're without Eckler, that Josh Kelly fella, man, he's able to run the rock okay. And Justin Herbert looks good. Give me some of the Justin Herbert stock because they're good. They're going to be in their new beautiful uniforms in their new beautiful stadium against a team that's just not trying to win football games. Give me the Chargers at home in that one. We head to the Death Star in Las Vegas, where the Vegas Raiders host Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Even though this is in Vegas, this bad boy is on Sunday Night Football in prime time. This is a Tom rise to the occasion game. This is such a game where you're on the road, against Vegas, who's a good team. John Gruden has won some games there. They got some flashy offensive weapons. Josh Jacobs has played well for them. They drafted Henry Ruggs that's doing really well. Derek Carr is actually playing okay this year after a lot of people were getting ready to write him off and say that the Raiders need to start looking in next year. All right, Derek Carr holding his own this season. This is just a classic Tom Brady. Gotcha, fooled ya. I'm 42, but I'm going to punch you right in the nose type of affair for the Buccaneers. They looked really, really good against Mike Pettine's Packers defense. Ronald Jones ran all over them. I would expect the same thing again. We had Chris Gronkowski on the show just 30 minutes ago, and he was saying that they're only going to get better as the year goes on. We saw Rob Gronkowski, Chris's brother, get better, get more involved, find his way into the end zone for the first time in a uniform other than a Patriots uniform. I'm picking the Bucs, traveling across the country all the way from Florida to Nevada to win this game on national TV. Those tickets, by the way, I have a ESPN pull up here. Those tickets are as low as $442. I don't even know that they're letting fans in Vegas, but if they are, you're paying a pretty penny to get in to a Sunday night football game. And we finish our pick'ems and we finish the show in Cincinnati as the Cleveland Browns will beat the Cincinnati Bengals this week. We talked a lot of Browns. Browns have more talent. They're going to beat the Bengals convincingly. Big game from Baker, big game from the Browns as they bounce back. Huge thanks to everybody for hanging out. What a fun hour. Huge thanks to Dugout Mugs, dugoutmugs.com/Padone. Don't miss out on this action. Get your free knob shot. Huge thanks to Chris Gronkowski for hanging out. Awesome stuff from him. Follow him on TikTok at Chris Gronkowski. Don't forget, guys, follow this bad boy on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Just search Padone My Take. Give it a subscribe. Give it a follow. Helps us out a lot. Have a ton of fun guests in the future, so you don't want to miss out on any of that. As always, Padone My Take is brought to you by BigPlay.com. As the Chief of Staff, Callie Brownson, says, it's not about the moments in life. It's not about how many breaths you take throughout life. It's about the moments that take your breath away. Go live your life. Go have some fun. Go Browns. We're beating those Cincinnati Bengals. Love you guys so much. We'll see you later.